G'day legends, TJC Sports here. Welcome back to another legendary NRL predictions video. Today we're going to be doing round 3. It's been a long time since we've done one of these, but we are back to doing one every single week from here on in. If you enjoy, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe. This should be a fun video to do. I won't delay it any further. Let's do this. These are my NRL round 3 predictions. We kick this round off with what could be quite possibly the most quality game heading into this round. The Melbourne Storm versus the Penrith Panthers at AAMI Park. You couldn't ask for much better than this. The grand final rematch. They are, without a doubt, the two top teams heading into this year. So it'll be interesting to see how this one goes here. I could see it going either way. Penrith Panthers coming off a shocking loss to the Sydney Roosters that nobody, and I mean almost nobody, saw coming. And the Melbourne Storm coming off a bye and an extremely dominant victory at AAMI Park, ironically, in round 1 against my Parramatta Eels, which was so bad I became a meme. I personally could see this result going either way, with the Penrith Panthers desperate to bounce back against the Melbourne Storm from last week, and the Melbourne Storm having that week off after smashing Eels. However, I am gonna lean towards the Melbourne Storm in this one. Sorry, Penrith Panthers, I could easily see you winning this one, but with it being in Melbourne and what I saw from Storm in round 1 and the week off, I'm expecting them to get one over here. I think it'll be 1-12, and possibly you could even predict 1-6. I think it's going to be that tight. Also, Dylan Edwards is out for the Panthers, which I think just about helps me here in leaning towards the Melbourne Storm winning this one. So Melbourne Storm 1-12. Let's see who we have next. Then, to kick off our Friday footy, it's the two teams that shocked us last Friday in the rugby league community, the New Zealand Warriors versus the Sydney Roosters here. We went into how the Roosters beat the Panthers last week, but we also have the Warriors here hosting, who last week took on the Manly Warringah Seagulls as the underdogs and managed to come up on top here, showing how much of a difference a home advantage and a little bit of a break can do to a side. The Roosters do have a number of players back, though, particularly their forward pack with Spencer Leniu, Lindsay Collins, and Victor Radley. Victor the Inflictor, love him, all back for the Roosters here in this game. So like the last game, you can make an argument for either team winning. This game's really got me all over the place in my head, because I think I've gone back and forth at least 10 times between who I think will win this one. It took me many hours to decide, but I will be going with the New Zealand Warriors 1-12 in a tight contest here, where the Roosters may lead a couple times in the game, but Warriors will just about be able to get over the line. I really liked what I saw from Luke Metcalf last week and the Warriors halves, and I think overall that team at home should be able to get the job done just about. Don't count out the Roosters, though. Momentum can be a powerful thing in this game we love. To follow that game, we will have the Brisbane Broncos versus the North Queensland Cowboys, that 2015 rivalry between these two teams. Ben Hunt will be looking to have a great game, hopefully not dropping the ball this time in the dying moments. Both Brisbane Broncos and North Queensland Cowboys are coming off losses heading into this game. I think both teams will really want this. However, after what I've seen the last couple rounds, I can't not be tipping the Brisbane Broncos here. I know it's very quick to come to this tip compared to others, but that's how confident I unfortunately am in it. Sorry, Cowboys fans, but I'm going with the Brisbane Broncos 13+ here. I think there'll be a bit much for the Cowboys to handle. Feel free to prove me wrong, Cowboys. After that, it's Super Saturday, and we kick off our legendary Super Saturday with the Cronulla Sharks versus the South Sydney Rabbitohs. Rabbitohs undefeated this season, though you could argue through a bit of luck, and the Cronulla Sharkies halfway there, 1 out of 2 victories, and it's no real shame there when the only team they lost to was the defending four-peaters, the Penrith Panthers. It's also Sharks' first home game of the year, so they'll be pumped for this one. I think Cronulla Sharks are the better team right now, and South Sydney Rabbitohs do have Lachlan Hubner suspended. However, they are just one of those teams where they always put up a fight, so I can't really see this being a smashing. I'm going to look really funny if this is, but I definitely think this is a 1-12 result. Cronulla Sharks, full strength here, home. It's hard to go past them, really. So I'm going to say the Cronulla Sharks 1-12 here in what could be a decent game. On to the next one. It's our middle Super Saturday game. It is the Dolphins versus the West Tigers. The Dolphins are currently yet to get themselves a victory this season. The Tigers, on the other hand, while they lost round 1, did best my Parramatta Eels the previous round. Tigers looked really solid in that game at CommBank Stadium, and if they can continue that form versus the Dolphins could be in trouble, as the Dolphins have been a team that have really struggled with attack this season and their speed. The question for this game on who wins is if the Tigers can continue their form from last week against Para into this one, or if Para were just that bad. I think the Tigers will continue their form here, and I'm going to say that the West Tigers win this one. Finishing off Saturday, it is the Titans versus the Newcastle Knights. It's pretty hard when the Titans only have one game to go off of that you didn't actually get to watch because it was on the same day as you were filming your team get smashed by 30-ish points. But from what I hear, they weren't that great. And then the Newcastle Knights, they've started pretty solidly their first 2 games to begin the year. They haven't played the greatest teams if we were to look at how those 2 teams they've played have performed the last few years. But I still think they've looked solid. And if the Tigers continue their form like we're predicting, then they have played a solid team and won. I think with the Titans being at home, they should put up a good fight here. I hear mixed thoughts on how they performed versus Bulldogs, but some say they were awful, some said they were all right. Overall, the Dogs dominated that one. Being at home, though, this should help out the Titans, so I could see a blowout, possibly in one of these teams' favours, but I think the Titans should do better this game. Do I think they win? It's close. I'm really tempted to tip them, but I think I'm going to go with what my brain says, and I'm going to say the Newcastle Knights win this 1-12. We go on to Sunday, the Parramatta Eels, my Parramatta Eels versus the Canterbury Bankstown Bulldogs here. We all know who everybody will be tipping, probably the Bulldogs in this one. However, as an Eels fan, I do want to go into it a little. We've dropped Ronald Volkman and brought in Dean Hawkins to the halfback position. I'm excited to see what Hawkins can do in that spot. We also have Fox expected. He hasn't been named, but he's expected to be added to that team eventually too, possibly. So, got a couple players making their debuts for the Parramatta Eels. There's a chance Box doesn't play, but I hope that he does end up doing so. It is worth noting that the Bulldogs will also have Kikau and Matt Burton out, which could benefit us. However, the Dogs are also just that kind of team where they always have a player ready to help them get the job done anyways. Obviously, a huge winning game. Both our fan bases will want nothing more than to get one over the other side in this one. If I'm using my head and I'm not a Para supporter, I'm telling you right now, I think that I would go towards Bulldogs just about, as the Canterbury Bankstown Bulldogs, I do think have a little better defence, and overall just look like a way better team than how we've looked the last couple rounds. I do think Bulldogs probably get over the line here, but I'm one of those fans where I can never not support my team, and I'm going with the Parramatta Eels to win this 1-12. Laugh at me in the comments. It all then comes down to this. The Manly Warringah Sea Eagles versus the Canberra Raiders. Manly coming off a disappointing loss to Warriors in New Zealand. Raiders coming off a very surprising victory over the Broncos that cements the Raiders, assuming that they don't fade, as a very interesting team to watch this year. It was unfortunate for Manly after looking so promising round 1 that they were unable to continue that form into round 2. Canberra Raiders, on the other hand, have managed to keep this pretty consistently looking good kind of footy for the last 2 rounds, and only time will tell if they can do that for the whole year. Possibly not. They are called the Faders for a reason. But I'm backing that they will, and I think the upset is happening here. The Canberra Raiders are going to beat Manly to finish off the round, as I just believe they've been that bit enough impressive to back them in this one. And those were my NRL Round 3 predictions. What are yours? Feel free to let me know in the comments down below. Make sure you like and subscribe if you enjoyed. Consider checking out one of these legendary videos on screen. And I'll see you all in the next one.